Namaste Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharini. The way to bring ease in life. This is the topic for today. Are you able to hear? కొంచెం వాల్యూమ్ పెంచమ్మా, ముందే పెంచి పెట్టుకోవాలి. The way to bring ease in life. Our lives have become very burdensome today for various reasons. How to lighten this burden? How actually the burden is created? We shall look into the next 30 or 40 minutes. Human life is not that simple. Human mind is not that simple. That is the only difference, right? Animals are made up of flesh and blood. We are also made up of flesh and blood. That is one shape of flesh and blood. Ours is another kind of shape, is different probably. But that is flesh and blood, it is flesh and blood. But there is a huge difference between an animal's mind and human mind. And also among human beings, between two individuals, there is a huge variation in thought, in the way they understand things, in the way they comprehend things, in the way they perceive life. There is huge variation. So this actually creates huge diversity in human species. And there are people, it may sound a little offensive, but that is a fact. The people who are not very much evolved from an animal, and there are people who are almost very close to God. But the form is human form only. That's why when we come here as human beings, culture, philosophy, spirituality, religion becomes so important. They all become important only from human being onwards. At an animal level, they have no scope and no place. And today we think education is sufficient. No. What we understand by mean education is this: education, livelihood. What for education? Education is for livelihood. And we have limited the scope of education. But at human level, more than livelihood, the culture and spirituality are important. Once you have the right culture and spirituality, you don't have to struggle so much for livelihood that we have not figured it out, we have not understood it. It's a different thing. Human mind is very complex, so it creates fears, it creates complexes, it makes you desire so many things. Animal, it has not many desires. Basically food and reproduction, there it stops. Animal mind doesn't create multiple desires, but human mind is not like that. One desire you satisfy, it craves for one thing more, and you satisfy that, it craves for more and more and more. There is no limit to this craving, in fact. That is the reason our rishis deliberately kept life simple. I mean, simple in the sense that external arrangements, external comforts and conveniences. Not that they didn't have brains to invent more things, material things, to provide more comfort to the flesh. But they deliberately did not go for that because they understood that that would enslave man to matter. For that reason, they didn't create, and then they understood that human mind means, embodied existence means bondage. We have discussed this subject many times, but still I just want to touch it. The very fact that we have come here as human being into this world is a proof that we are in bondage. For that matter, our philosophy says, everything that is in time and space is in bondage. Everything that is in universe is in time and space. Everything that is in time and space is in bondage. So everything that is in this universe is in bondage. As Swamiji beautifully puts it, every particle is rushing towards freedom as it were. Everything is bound. Bound by what? Bound by law of causation. So there is nothing like true freedom. We cannot really enjoy true freedom here. We think actually we have free will, but free will is a misnomer. Swamiji talks about this in the chapter Freedom in Karma Yoga. There is no free will for human beings, though we feel that actually we have free will, but there is no free will. Will is bound. Will is bound by law of causation. So do you have the freedom actually to desire what you really want? No. Desires happen there, and then we pursue the desires. So we have a set pattern. We are pre-programmed in that way because we bring our own karma when we come into this world. The actions that we performed in our previous birth created a kind of software for us, and that software makes us will in a particular way. So we are helpless in that way. So this will is bound by law. There cannot be anything like free will. Only that which creates will is free. That is consciousness. Only that which creates will is free. Only that which creates desire is free. But desire is not free, will is not free, your volition is not free. That's why they understood this. And the only solution for this human problem, for man to enjoy infinite bliss and peace or ananda, is to make oneself volition free. So if you drop the volition, it's as good as you have dropped the mind. When you have dropped the mind, you are in super consciousness. But today our life is this world of senses, this world of name and form. We think this is the only world, this is the only existence, this is the only plane that is possible to us. But there are other planes of existence. As you keep evolving, as you purify your mind to higher levels and higher levels, so you will have other dimensions opened up for you. When you completely drop the mind, the highest dimension of our personality, namely super consciousness, gets opened for us. That is the state of freedom. That is the state of bliss. But as long as you have this mind, some burden of life we always feel. But now actually let us talk about only how to lessen the burden of life. There are three things. If you understand these three things, if you remember always, your burden of life will be less. The highest generalization that our rishis have given for this world is the play of the Lord. It is the play of consciousness. It is the play of that infinite being. It is his Leela, or Divine Mother's Leela, her Leela. So, when you have this understanding, this is all play, this is all sport of that highest power or highest intelligence, and you remember this always. This is all only sport. This is all in Leela. So when you have this understanding, nothing gets stuck to you. Nothing sticks to you. You are totally detached from everything in the world. So the burden of life will become less. But what is happening with us today? Everything we take it so seriously. Every small happening in our lives, we take it so seriously, as if that is so important. But this is all in play. The whole universe itself is in play. The earth itself actually is a non-entity in this universe. The earth itself is a small speck in this cosmos. Forget about consciousness, forget about the infinite reality. Anyway, that is beyond mind, because our mind is in time and space. We cannot really talk about, we cannot really comprehend or understand that which is beyond time and space. Because we can understand things only in time and space. So this universe is in time and space. We see and understand only this universe. How big is this universe? Today people say, the physicists say, that it's almost infinite. There is no end to this universe. There are billions and billions of galaxies are there. This earth on which we live is only a speck, a small dot in this universe. If something happens to this earth, today, tomorrow, let us say it gets broken into pieces. Okay? Let us say it becomes a dust. The universe will not notice it at all. Such a small thing, this earth. And on this earth, how small we are as creatures, as entities, too small, right? But everybody thinks my life, my goals, my settlement, my objectives. That's as if you feel and the whole earth is kept on your shoulders, on your head. My life, my choices, my preferences, my likes, my dislikes. You yourself a non-entity, and the earth and you live actually as a small speck in this cosmos. That means we have lost perspective somewhere. So this idea that this world is only a play of the Supreme Consciousness, I am his playmate, when you have this understanding, you will be able to conduct yourself effortlessly in this world, and you won't feel the burden of life as much as you feel it now. The second thing that you need to remember is everything that happens in our lives happens for our ultimate good. At that particular point of time, we don't understand. We are passing through a very difficult situation. You find the pain of it is almost unbearable, but it is worth enduring it. Nothing that should not have happened will ever happen in anybody's life. Okay? Everything that happens for our ultimate good. What nature is doing through hardship is, nature is trying to push us towards that infinite. But what are we saying to the nature? No, I want to be here only. This limited world is sufficient for me. I'm happy here. Don't push me, you are saying. But no, you have come here as a human being. You can't get stuck at the level of senses. Had you come here as an animal, fine. Nature would not push you hard. But since you have come here as a human being, nature is pushing you towards the infinite. But we don't want to go towards the infinite. We are opposing nature's way, nature's move. That's why the friction comes. And why should nature push us through hardships? Can't nature push us through gently? Why should it be pushed only through hardship? We just reflect on the nature of things. How does the hardship happen? Because you are resisting, you feel it a hardship. If you don't resist, if you surrender, no hardship at all. Every happening, you welcome it. You are actually resisting the way of nature, and that's why it turns out to be a hardship. Otherwise, there is no hardship in life. Absolutely. No burden at all. The burden is being created by our mind. Burden is created by our mind because we refuse to surrender, we refuse to understand the way of the nature, and we are resisting. That's why actually it turns out to be hardship. Something happened in our life. We always have this idea. Why should it happen that way? Why did it happen this way? It should not have happened. Oh, then the suffering comes. Otherwise, you have surrendered completely. Okay? Whatever that happens, you take it easy. Yeah, whatever destined to happen only has happened. Will you have any suffering? No. Somewhere, actually, we are resisting the way of nature. A disciple went to a Sufi mystic. He asked the Guru, is there no way to become spiritual except through hardships? Guru said, no. Why? Disciple asked. There was a bird, it built its nest in a solitary tree in the midst of a desert. Only one tree was there. This bird built its nest on the tree, only tree. One day there was a huge storm, and the storm uprooted the tree. So now bird had no place to stay because only tree got uprooted. So its nest got destroyed. So the bird flew. For 100 miles it flew. 100 miles it flew, and there it found a forest. Had the tree been not destroyed by the gale, by the storm, do you think the bird would have searched for this forest? No. Now because the only tree on which it built its nest got uprooted, it had no other option but to fly and fly and fly. And it flew in a northerly direction, and it found ultimately a forest. You just see, here actually it had the pain that the only tree on which it built its nest got destroyed, but there actually it found forest. Our condition also is like that. We don't want to give up this little support that we get from this world, little attachment, these two things, because we accumulate these things with great difficulty. We hold on to them with all our might. But nature is saying, don't get attached, don't get stuck. Don't say I and mine. Don't develop this tentacle of selfishness. Get out of it, get out of it. This limited world, little world is not yours. There is something beyond. The infinite actually is beckoning us, but we don't see it. We turn a blind eye towards that. The infinite is beckoning us because we are the infinite ultimately. As Khalil Gibran beautifully puts it, humanity is traveling from eternity to eternity. From where we have come, from freedom we have come. Where are we now? In bondage we are now. Where we'll go back? We'll go back to freedom ultimately. From the infinite we have come, we have become the finite, and again actually we'll go back to the infinite. That is the journey. From consciousness, from God we have come, in bondage and Maya we are in now, and unto God we return. That is the journey. The journey is complete once you return back to God. So we don't want, now we have come into the world, we are comfortable here, oh, everything is fine, now let me be here only, here only, here only. But nature says, no, you have come here as a human being, you must seek truth, you must know your glory, you must know your infinite nature. You don't have to seek for these little joys and happinesses. It doesn't befit you as a human being. So there is that infinite possibility for you, and seek that, the nature is saying. But we don't understand the lesson, that is the problem. We don't understand the way of nature, we don't understand the lesson. That brings us hardship, that brings us pain, that makes us actually life very burdensome. Otherwise, if you understand the purpose of nature, the purpose of our being here, what is evolution, what is the next step in evolution for human beings, what is the spiritual journey, all this stress and anxiety, this burden that we feel about life, everything can be removed. Only thing, if you understand the way you ought to understand things. The nature is pushing us towards the infinite. Through hardship happens only because we resist. Swamiji beautifully says this, anyway surrender is inevitable. There is only one will, your will is a myth. You don't have any free will. It is only God's will that will happen through every particle in this universe. Much less to talk about a species like human being. It is He who created this universe for His play, for His sport. We are all His playmates. He is the director and you have to act according to His direction. His will alone is the will. And then when you understand that there is no my will actually, everything will happen by the will of my Lord. Will you have any suffering? Swamiji beautifully says, let this be the oblation that you offer into the fire. Day and night you keep saying, not I and mine, but thou and thine, O Lord. Not I and mine, but thou and thine. Simply if you say one day, once actually, it's not that actually your will be dropped. Because the force of Prarabdha is so strong. We have this nature. The force of Prarabdha is so strong. It doesn't get dropped in one day, but you have to strive and strive and strive. Constantly keep on saying, not I and mine, but thou and thine. This I and mine is bondage. This I and mine is ignorance. Because of this I and mine only, life becomes burdensome. Once this is dropped, you can float effortlessly. Here itself you can experience the bliss. You can experience the joy of life. So nature is forcing us to surrender. We don't want to surrender. My will, my choices, my preferences, my desires, my objectives. You can't have anything of that sort. You are here only to do God's bidding. Whatever He wills, that will happen. We don't have free will. You need to drop that volition. This volitionlessness actually is the objective of life. Once you drop that volition, once you drop that sankalpa, this is why we have these expressions or phrases in Sanskrit. Sarva arambha parityagi, sarva sankalpa sannyasi. Sarva arambha parityagi. The individual who has understood the nature of creation, he doesn't will anything. No, I should do this, it should happen the way I will. Nothing of that. So it's all His will actually. I am here only to do His will. Whatever He wills, that will happen. When you have this surrender, absolutely there is no scope for you to suffer. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi. So this volition, our will, this is a fictitious projection, separate from God's will. So the purpose of creation is to merge our will again back in God's will. So when you have that kind of surrender, will there be an occasion for you to suffer anything in life? Life will never become burdensome. All the reason for all the suffering that exists in the world is only because of this. We actually separated our will from cosmic will as it were. And we have to merge it into cosmic will, that's all. God's will happen through every individual, through every entity in this universe. So what is required of us is this surrender, surrender, surrender. As Swamiji says beautifully, nature will force you to surrender. If you are a wise individual, you will willingly and joyfully surrender. If you are not that wise, what will happen? Nature will force you to surrender. That creates pain. Do you get that? Do you understand? Nature will force you to surrender. Why you want to be forced? Joyfully and willingly surrender. And then bliss, it is ananda. When there is no separate volition, when there is no separate will, it is joy and joy and joy alone. So this division of the world into you and I, me, subject and object, again because of mind. How mind is created, how mind is formed, how mind is sustained, you ever imagined? Because today we don't lead contemplative lives, we don't turn inward, we don't even analyze how the mind functions. We don't understand, even these things are told again and again. Whatever the statements the rishis have made, intellectually to grasp them, to understand them itself has become so difficult, because we have set our minds on material and matter. Whenever you meditate on matter and material to such an extent, the mind tends to become grosser and grosser, and it finds it difficult to understand the subtle intellectual or spiritual truths. So this is the problem. So a little purification has to happen, a little dispassion we need to cultivate, a little sadhana in the form of prayer, or selfless service, or repetition of God's name we should do, even to understand these things conceptually, to make the things clear for you. And so what mind is doing in our being is this. It is objectifying consciousness. Constantly it projects objects there. That's how it derives its existence. Because if you don't objectify the universe, if you superimpose God on everything you see, if you see everything as consciousness, if everything as God, and mind says, no, it's an object that you can enjoy, you take it for you, try to possess it, mind says. So you just cut it at the root itself. No, it's not an object, it is just a reflection of you. It is all consciousness, it is all God. So you superimpose every time actually mind tries to divide the universe for you. And constantly when you do, then mind disappears, because mind derives its existence only through objectification. What it is doing is, it is objectifying God, it is objectifying consciousness. There is only one homogeneous consciousness, only one God that exists in this universe. From where this duality or differentiation, the world of name and form, has come into existence? This is the question. It is a mind which created that. Why does it do? Because that is its nature. This division, creating division, is mind's nature. Objectifying consciousness is nature. It derives its existence in that form. So when that tendency of the mind is cut, the mind disappears. That's why mind is a ghost. Mind is Bethala. So once this Bethala is dropped, the ghost is conquered, you are in nirvana. You are in super consciousness. That is the goal. But we don't want to go towards that super consciousness consciously. We want to take only small steps. We just want to move like a snail. But nature wants us to run like a horse towards that supreme consciousness. No, you are saying, no, I am comfortable with my speed. Okay, relative world, if you are given actually a slow vehicle, are you happy? You want the fastest conveyance, right? Today everybody is using flight only wherever you want to go, because it takes us to the destination faster. And now what we are saying is, no, I am not in a hurry to reach super consciousness or God. No, but nature will not allow you to go that slow. Because this is human element, this is human instrument, the best of the instrument that you can ever aspire for. With this instrument you can attain God. Having come with this kind of possibility, when you say that I don't want to go towards God, I am just content and satisfied with little creature comfort, this sensory world, nature will not allow you to keep that pace. Nature is pushing you, move faster towards the super consciousness. Through hardship, it is pushing you. Why hardship? No, you can choose. No, I don't want hardship. Then consciously you struggle. Then have like Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Vivekananda, that goal of life is God. I will strive only for that. When Sri Ramakrishna was asked to go to school, he said, no, I don't want. As a small kid, he could tell that. For us, even after growing up this big also, we don't understand. We are grown into adults, but still we have had wrong kind of education. We don't understand that. His mind was so clear at such a tender age. That's why we call him an incarnation. Would it be possible for ordinary human beings to have such clarity of mind at such a tender age? Small kid, he told, no, I don't want to go to school. Why? That's only for livelihood. There's no education at all. Simply, there's only livelihood education, there's no education. Education means what? According to the spiritual mystics, this idea, this understanding that the purpose of life is to realize the truth, to know God, to know our maker, to know the creator of this universe. Because we are endowed with that capacity. Had nature not given us that capacity, fine, you don't have to struggle, you don't have to move consciously towards that goal. But nature has actually worked so hard, and millions of years it took for nature to evolve a species of this capacity and capability. And having come with this level of capability, and if you say that I don't want to use all the capability I am endowed with, okay, I will let it go wasted, I will get my mind rested. No, nature will not allow. That's why actually it is pushing us hard towards the superconsciousness, towards God. We don't understand it. That's why that's the problem. That's why life becomes so burdensome. Otherwise not. The second thing, as I have told, that everything happens for our ultimate good. You may not understand when you pass through actually a difficult phase in life. At that particular time, you may not understand, but afterwards you will realize that whatever actually was to happen had happened, and the right thing only had happened, and that was for your good only. When you have this larger perspective of life in view, you understand that. We have very narrow vision of life, very narrow or shallow understanding of life. So that is the reason it brings suffering to us. But the nature has a different plan for us. Nature actually has the plan that this individual should reach the superconsciousness, should reach God in this birth itself. That is the nature's idea. Where we resist and so we suffer. So everything that happens in our lives happens for our ultimate good. When you have this understanding, life becomes less burdensome. Otherwise, people are taking wounds. People are getting wounded. And people are collecting pain bodies. Every individual, every second individual I see actually has a pain body. Every second individual I see has a pain body within the individual. That means small things in life they have taken so seriously. Getting into depression, sometimes committing suicide, right? They don't want to come out of that mindset. Why? No, something untoward has happened in my life. Something which should not have happened in my life. I have become a failure, I have tried sincerely, I have given my best. So what? You have the basic necessities of life, right? You have food, clothing and shelter. You might have aspired for that. You don't know what is in store for you. You don't know what is your destiny. See, everything is known to you beforehand. What you are going to be next year, what you are going to be after 5 years, you are going to be after 10 years. Everything is known beforehand. Then will there be any charm in life? Will there be any beauty in life? Absolutely no, right? Because we don't know what is tomorrow. That's actually the beauty of life. If everything is known beforehand, there is no charm, there is no beauty in life. We don't understand that. Because tomorrow we do not know. What is our future, we do not know. That is the beauty. So you can aspire for something, you can strive for something, you can work for something. If it comes, it's okay, you're destined to achieve that. If it doesn't come, you're not destined to achieve that. Something else is in store for you, something else is written for you. Why can't you take like that and move forward? No. I have aspired for this, I have not got it. Thus. That's all. Right? You become a spent force. No new initiative. No going forward. Looking only backward. What has happened? Something untoward happened. All my effort has gone waste. All my time has gone waste. All my energy has gone waste. These are all silly conclusions that you come. Okay? Neither your effort has gone a waste, nor your money has gone a waste, nor your time has gone a waste. Every experience counts. These bitter experiences, these hardships, these miserable experiences teach valuable lessons of life. When you understand that, you will not take this pain body. Because you don't understand that, you collect a pain body and then you need a counselor. Afterwards, you need a psychologist. A little more deeper pain body, then psychiatrist. Otherwise, hospital administration. Okay? Mental hospital. Right? This is what is happening to people because of wrong conclusions. Money has gone a waste, time has gone a waste. Effort has gone a waste. No. Every experience counts. If nature is giving more hardship to you, series of hardships, okay? One after another painful experience. Know for certain that nature will not give a hardship or painful experience to any individual without first endowing the individual with the capacity to bear that pain. Okay, you are made to pass through that experience, pass through that painful phase means you are already given the capacity to digest the pain, to endure the pain. Nature is not that cruel. You are already endowed. And you are fortunate. It's all blessing in disguise. That means quickly you will develop dispassion and quickly you will move towards superconsciousness. Otherwise, no hardship, no pain, no suffering, cozy and easy going life happening. Then you get stuck at the level of senses. You get stuck at the level of world of name and form. That is the reason actually nature gives hardships and blows to fortunate people. And those who get these blows, who understand the meaning of these blows and move forward, are the blessed people. Only thing is we don't understand the real meaning of this hardship and suffering. That's the reason we come to wrong conclusions, we suffer. Nature is not responsible for that. Our wrong conclusions, our wrong understanding of the experience is the problem. Something which should not have happened in my life. How can that be possible? Impossible. So the second thing is, whatever that happens in our life happens for our ultimate good. First is, everything is God's play, or leela, or sport. That which is sport to our Father, we are His playmates, we also sport. Oh, every experience is okay for me. You should be able to tell if you are really, have some substance in you. If you are a man of substance, a woman of substance, you should be able to tell that is, my Lord, my Father I am His playmate. So every experience is okay for me. Take it easy. Because after all, it is fun and leela for my Father, and it's also fun and leela for me as well. Every experience is fun and leela. Second, that everything happens, if you don't understand that, second conclusion, second statement you take, everything happens for our ultimate good. The third is, there is nothing to lose for us. A very important thing. There is nothing to lose for us. See, what is Vairagya is so much is preached here. In all our scriptures talk about Vairagya, they glorify Vairagya, they glorify renunciation. Why? They are asking us to give up. Give up. Why? Because you will attain the supreme. By giving up these petty, limited and little things, including this body, if you don't identify with this body, you will touch God. Now you are identified with the body, that's why you are not experiencing the infinite. When you identify with the finite, you can't experience the infinite, that's why they tell. So let go this identification with the finite so that you would experience the infinite. All for your advantage. To gain the ultimate, to gain the infinite, you have to let go identification with the limited, transient, ephemeral, conditioned, concrete, gross. So if you let go your identification with this conditioned, gross, the ephemeral, transient body and mind, you will attain to that infinite, eternal consciousness, God. So giving up actually should give you joy. No, but it is so painful for every one of us. To give up small things also so painful. What to speak about not identifying with the body, that's a big thing. So if you lose something like money, wealth, properties, and other things, be happy. Because nature is pushing you towards renunciation. One pair of chappal is lost, people suffer for 1 year. Right? That is the level of attachment. Right? Petty things you are so attached to. Not to. So be happy. So somebody who actually wanted it actually more in need of you, the chappal, than you actually got it. Be happy. Right? Move forward in life. So this is the culture where renunciation is glorified, renunciation is preached, because renunciation brings you closer to God, closer to truth. But everybody is today in accumulation mode. So many clothes, so many pairs of chappals. The wardrobes are full. Just like carpenters actually are getting very good business now. They are completely busy. Every wall is full of wardrobes. There is no actually empty wall left. Because so many things we purchase, and there some space should be there, no? To preserve them, to store them up, right? We accumulate things as if we are going to be here for thousands and thousands of years. And also people, I think, they believe that there is courier service here, cargo service. You can book all these things before you die. So send all these things to there, next world. I will enjoy things there. Accumulating things for what we don't know, because the neighbor is doing, I am also doing. My neighbor is doing, I am also doing. Majority are doing, I am also doing. But this day, majority syndrome. Majority need not be right. Truth doesn't pay homage to any society, ancient or modern. Society has to pay homage to truth or die, Swamiji said. Societies are not built on truth. Societies and governments are based on bad generalizations, Swamiji says. Where is that passion for culture? Where is that passion for spirituality? It's not there. Where is that passion for higher truth? So it's very important that you understand things in right perspective. Then life becomes less burdensome. There is nothing to lose for us. Just contemplate this. Give this thought to your mind. Mind says that you are lost, that you are lost, that you are lost, that. That creates fear and pain. When you give this command to the mind, there's nothing to lose. Even the body goes also is okay. Okay, you are not realized the truth. So what? You will get another body. Now there is a war going in one part of the world. Right? People are losing their lives. Serious matter, right? If it happens in our immediate neighborhood, we feel the pain, but it is happening at a distant geography. We may not feel that much of pain, but we need to understand. But when you have attachment to life, when you fear death, okay, when death is painful to us, we need to understand death is painful for them also. So these things actually are happening because we have invested so much in science and technology, and we have not invested much in culture and spirituality. And we thought actually the science and technology is sufficient. Now, it's being proved that we don't have stable enough intelligence to use science and technology to our advantage. Human species is the only species which actually, can work against its own interest. There is no other animal on the planet Earth which works against its own interest. We consider ourselves educated, we consider ourselves, a progressive civilization. 21st century we are all living, we think. But the thing that is very clear is this. What is the proof actually, you may ask? Swamiji, you are saying that actually there is no proof that actually science will enhance our life. There is no guarantee that science and technology will give us the expected, comfort or expected peace and joy. Our present world actually is proof. The best of science and technology, the best state of the technologies have gone into making weapons. And now, war. We are using them against ourselves, right? Is there any species on the planet Earth, you tell me, which creates something and uses it against its own species? No. There are no other individual. We are doing that. How foolish of ourselves. You just imagine. This is happening, right? This is the proof that we don't have stable enough intelligence to use things that we create. We use them against ourselves. That will not happen only when there is spirituality. So don't think actually only science and technology will save us. It's the spirituality which saves us. Swamiji beautifully puts it. It is not mass of information that saves a civilization. So much of information we have developed, information about matter in the name of science and technology. It's not the mass of information that saves a civilization. It is culture that saves a civilization. And where is culture? In our Sanskrit books. Where is culture in the world? Vivekananda says that it in our Sanskrit books. Those teachings alone will civilize a human being. Otherwise we think we are civilized. No, we pretend that we are civilized. We are not as civilized as we think ourselves to be. Civilization is yet to happen. It's a big word. A long way to go. A long way to go. So only when you have this spiritual culture, the real civilization will happen. Otherwise, this danger is always there. The best things that we have invented, we may use against ourselves. What is the proof? The present situation in the world is the proof. Spirituality is so important. We have to identify. Through education, we have to make every individual identified with every other life. Either don't identify with any life or identify with every life. That is the only solution. No, I identify with only myself and my immediate family members. Or with my relatives, that's all. This is my world. Then actually, there's two small groups, right? When there is two, definitely actually there will be a fight, there will be a quarrel, sooner or later. When you identify with religion, religion in the sense that in a fanatical way, when you identify with a particular nation, or language, or a region, then automatically there is two, right? There is somebody else who actually identified with something else. Sooner or later, there will be quarrel, there will be conflict. So the only way to make world free of all conflicts is to make every individual identify with the rest of the life. If you can't identify with all other life, like animals, they are also brothers, at least identify with human life. So our Advaita alone can make people more humane. Okay? Advaita actually is basis on the scientific reasoning and on logic. Basically, we are all the same consciousness. We are all expressions and manifestations of the same divine principle. At that level, we are all one. So if I do something against you, actually it's basically I am working against myself. If I harm you, I am actually harming myself. If I love you, I love myself. If this kind of understanding comes only, there will be peace and world will be free from conflicts. Otherwise, I identify myself with so strongly with my national borders. I think this alone actually, nation that belong to me and all the people living across the border are my enemies, they alien to me. Then conflicts will happen sooner or later. So we think actually they are working against your interest and your interest will be in conflict with their interest and they think they suspect you and you suspect them. Sooner or later, because the kind of weaponry that we have created today, it's not a simple thing, right? I think after Second World War, an American general, I forgot his name, I think Bradley, he said, he made a beautiful statement. He said, we have invested so much. We have forgotten the Sermon on the Mount, he said, and we have created so much of weapons, and we thought that alone is important. And we have today nuclear giants and ethical infants. Nuclear giants and ethical infants. So if you don't identify with the larger life, the other life that is happening on the planet Earth, and you think that you are cut and dried separate existence from other lives, then you are not civilized. So that's why only our spiritual culture has the potency, capacity and necessary rational understanding that can civilize the entire mankind. That's why Swamiji again and again talks about this. Up and conquer the world with your spirituality, otherwise the world will be in danger. He has entrusted that task to us and asked us to hold on to our spirituality and to disseminate these spiritual ideas to the rest of the world so that humanity would become civilized in the true sense of the term. Sure, the task is yet to be unfinished task that we have to take up that now seriously. The things that we see around us are not that, bright. Definitely, everybody is kind of living under fear. Spirituality is a solution, it's not just science and technology. If spirituality is not there, only science and technology if you hold on to, thinking that we have stable enough intelligence to use them to our advantage, you are mistaken. We don't have stable enough intelligence to use them to our advantage. The circumstances, the situation, the present world actually will bear testimony to this fact. So sooner we spiritualize the rest of the humanity, the better for us and for everybody. It's 6:30 now, time for Arati. Let's meditate for a few minutes before we disperse.